Hello and welcome back to the Imperfectly Thriving podcast. So, this week, usually at this time, we talk through some of the questions that some of the Thrive girls have had, and I record my answers, my wonderful advice to them. However, we haven't had many questions this week, and I believe it is because every girl on Thrive has had the opportunity to have their success call with me, where we map out things long after Thrive's finished. We talk about the struggles that they've had, things they found difficult, and pretty much map out what's going to happen for them after Thrive's finished. So they know that when it's over, they are not just going to go back to their old habits. They are not just going to go back to the lifestyle that they had before, and they can rest assured that they know they are going to continue their journey, get to their fat loss goal, and then, of course, keep that going to a point of maintaining, getting the calories up. And I know that, when support and accountability ends, that's where a lot of the dangers, a lot of the issues come in. But today's podcast, we're talking about why waiting for the perfect time is killing your progress. And I know that a lot of people will do the thing of, I'll start when things calm down. Oh, I'll just keep going, right? This is something I see all the time. And one of the big reasons that I'm talking about it actually is because a lot of the girls on Thrive, it might have been smooth sailing up until this point, right? Like you may have had January, no spend January, no alcohol January, like things may have been very quiet, which is easier. Life is so much easier, isn't it, to go to the gym, to eat well, when you've not got your mates calling you up asking you to go to the beer garden, when you've not got a holiday on the horizon, right? And we can tell ourselves, I'll start when things calm down. I'll just wait for a better time. But the thing is there's no such thing as a better time, and there's no such thing as the perfect time to do anything, because what you need to learn to do is you need to learn to handle the nights out, the holidays, the social events, the last minute plans that pop up. Because what tends to happen, right, is when you don't have accountability, when you don't have that support in place, that this plan will pop up. You will go into it being like, yeah, I know exactly what to do. It's fine. It happens. You get peer pressured into drinking, eating everything inside. Then you come home, you feel guilty, you guilt trip yourself. You then continue eating and you tell yourself, well, why bother, right? I've screwed up. There's nobody there to be the voice of reason. There's nobody to tell you, well, actually, you've not screwed up. It's fine. Let's just get back on top of things, right? Let's draw a line under it. Let's learn from it. It's okay. This is what I want you to do next week, right? There's nobody to say that. And that is why it can be so difficult when you try and go solo, when you try and go on your own, if you are not at a position where you know how to maintain. Because how do you know that said holiday is not going to throw you off? How do you know that you're going to go on holiday, come back and then not say to yourself, oh God, I've piled on all the weight, why bother? I'm just going to go back to square one, right? It is so difficult to pick yourself up from that position of feeling like you've ruined things and that you've thrown the towel in and that you've destroyed your progress, right? Which is why I'm so big on having the support and having the accountability and committing to bettering yourself whilst life is lifing, right? Because yes, it sounds reasonable to be like, it's much better doing it when there's more time, right? To have more time to go to the gym, but it's the fastest way that you're going to stay stuck, because all you're going to learn is, right, this is how things go when things are quiet and things are smooth sailing. It's what happens when you see like these shred diets and, this 6-week challenge and stuff. And I've seen it. I get the messages from the people who've done these, who've been that transformation picture of this 6-week shred, very popular company that does this. And we'll not name anyone. And they then come to me and be like, well, didn't eat anything for 6 weeks pretty much. Cut out chocolate, cut out alcohol, cut out meals out. Like, we do not do that on Thrive. Obviously, Thrive is so much different. One-to-one coaching, we do not do that. We're not about that. We're about adding quality to your life and adding in more things that are going to be better for you. But that is exactly why you keep stalling with your progress, because no, it is not realistic to live like that forever. No, you can't live on shakes forever. I saw this lady I follow on Instagram. she's got like a weight loss account, and you know she's already lost this weight, and then she put this weight back on. And I saw her post the other day, and she was like posting about today's going to be a shake day, and I was like, why is she doing this? Like, you need to teach yourself how to eat properly, how to eat in a calorie deficit, and how to continue that going forwards, and then learning how to come out of that calorie deficit to maintain. Because otherwise, if you don't, you are just constantly yo-yoing, because you don't know what life looks like on the other side of a deficit, right? All you know is the shakes and, you know, the cutting out foods and the eating as little as possible, right? And when the food starts going up, and when there's a glycogen little spike on the scales because, you know, your muscles have fueled back up because you're eating at maintenance, you freak out and you end up back yo-yoing, right? And you stay stuck there forever. So there is no perfect time. The perfect time does not exist, right? I think the thing is, like, life doesn't slow and stay slow forever, does it? Like, there's always something. There's, you know, busy times of the year. Like, even now we've got Pancake Day. I think Pancake Day is probably my favourite day of the year. I love February. I'm a February baby. So it's my birthday soon, and February is like a busy month. I've obviously been doing Thrive alongside the girls, and my birthday will fall within Thrive, but also Pancake Day and Valentine's. And they are probably, I'm not going to lie, like my 3 favourite days of the year. I know, like, Valentine's won't really be doing much, probably just staying in, because we're not, like, you know, massive on that anyway. And, you know, I'm not big on alcohol, so I won't be, you know, drinking a bottle of wine and stuff like that. Like, there's other ways to celebrate, of course there are. But, you know, Pancake Day, I will be having pancakes. My birthday, I will be having a meal out. And there will always be something. But waiting for the perfect time, it just turns into waiting forever. And the thing you will never get back is time, right? You will never get that back, ever. We know that. Like, the one big thing, we can always have more money, you know, we can always have everything else, can't we? But how can we get time back? Of course we can't. And wasting those precious minutes and days and hours is like, don't do it, right? Stop telling yourself, I'll just put it off until I feel ready, right? Because the thing of remembering, right, is that life is just going to keep giving you curveballs and hurdles, but it's about how well you can deal with them. And that's a lot of what we talk about in coaching, and what will help women to, you know, coach them through is the mindset in which they view those stressful events and how they view life's hurdles and how they react to them. Because it's not, you know, I can't take the stress away from you. I can't stop your boss being a knob, and I can't stop, you know, someone being poorly, and I can't stop your car breaking down. Like, these things just might happen, and that's okay. It's how you respond to them, and it's the fact that you don't allow these things to stop your journey and, you know, emotionally, and allow yourself into a spiral and slowly stop. Which brings me on to my next point, is that most people don't quit, they just slowly stop, right? It's like a dimmer switch, and what happens is, if like you come out of, like, let's say like that 6-week shred I was talking about, they come out of that, and instead of it just being like, you know, a dramatic decision to be like, yeah, like, I've done it, I'm finished now, it's usually, okay, I've done that, but I've still got a bit more weight to lose, I'm just going to keep going on my own, right? But then you start missing a day at the gym, and then, you know, you miss that, and it turns into you miss a week at the gym, and then you start telling yourself you'll get back to it, and before you know it, you're realizing that months have passed and you're now like further and further away, because all you've done is, you didn't just wake up one day and stop, but you've allowed the habits to stop, right? You've let MyFitnessPal slip. I get it a lot. Like, people say to me, oh, I'm not using MyFitnessPal anymore because I roughly know how much I eat. And I'm like, no. Like, if you are not at your fat loss goal, use it as a tool, because it's going to help to keep you accountable on your journey, right? We know accountability is the big thing. We know support is the big thing. But if you stop and you just start to go to MyFitnessPal and tell yourself, oh, I roughly know how much I'm eating, and then you stop weighing yourself, you've lost those elements of accountability that were keeping you in check. Let's be honest, you do not know, like, I do not know, and this is, like, I say I count calories for a living. I do not. But I know roughly the amount of calories that are in things, and I know that a hell of a lot better than, you know, the general population. Most people, because it's something I've been doing years. I help clients do it all the time. But I could not, like, just be like, yeah, I, you know, roughly, you know, I know the amount of calories that might be in something, but I cannot for sure say if I'm in a deficit or not. And I will kid myself because, you know, it's human nature, isn't it? We love to tell a little white lie to ourselves and tell ourselves it's fine. So the thing that happens is that you slowly start to ghost MyFitnessPal. You slowly start working out. Your steps slowly dwindle because the weather's rubbish. And before you know it, the scales creep up. And it's not like an overnight thing, like it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. I'm not going to lie, right? And what you have to tell yourself is that, you know, progress doesn't come from pausing. It comes from adapting and continuing to move forwards despite the hurdles that life is throwing at you, right? Like when people say, oh, my head's just not in it, you know, I'm just not in a good place. It's like, okay, you've got to put that effort in to get yourself into a better place then, because that all comes from well-being. It comes from how you look after yourself, and how you eat, how you look after your body is like your bread and butter for your well-being, isn't it? So if you're looking after yourself, and if you're eating, you know, lots of ultra-processed foods, and you're eating lots of takeaways and things like that, then of course you're going to feel rubbish. Of course you're not going to feel like you're looking after yourself, and of course you're going to be lacking in energy, right? So you have to start even when you don't feel ready, even when you feel like life is busy, because it's finding something that fits into your life, okay? It's not completely overhauling your lifestyle, because that's just dramatic, right? It's slow, sustainable habits that you can build. The nutrition bit, not sustainable when you're trying to lose fat, because I always say, like, you should not be dieting on your weight loss calories forever. You get to a point where those calories need to be upped, right? That dimmer switch changes. And the nutrition bit should not be sustainable. You should not be telling yourself, right, I've got to be on this forever, because that's not how it works, right? You need to go for a reverse diet. You need to get your calories up at some point. But with the habits, you can be dialing them up on the journey. You know, you can be up in the workouts. You can start off with 1 a week if you're going from nothing. You can start off with 5,000 steps a day if you're doing 3, and then gradually up it to 7. And of course, see how that treats you, right? And those moments and those times in life when things are quieter and there's not as much on at work, or you've not got as many plans or whatever, like it's a quiet month, then yeah, we up the ante. Like that's exactly what we're doing one-to-one coaching. I will look at my clients' like schedules. We have like a journey mapper, and the journey mapper like maps out, right, when are your holidays, when have you got events, you know, when have you got meals out and things like that. And we'll work within that, and we'll work around diet breaks. We'll work around periods of going a bit harder, like cutting down for a holiday, those periods of taking our foot off the pedal a bit where we can relax a bit and have higher calories. We'll work around, of course, getting you ultimately to that reverse diet and mapping that out so you can see exactly what your journey will look like in terms of getting you to that position where you're like, yeah, I've got a banging bod. I feel amazing in myself. And of course, you know, for some people that will then turn into, right, now I want to work on building. I want to build more muscle. I want to get strong. And, you know, we learn pull-ups, and we switch the focus to performance goals. And that is ultimately where everyone wants to be. Like, let's be honest, I can bang on about that all year. But the thing is, it's about like showing up imperfectly rather than just disappearing because you're stressed or the conditions don't feel right. Like, I will battle with anyone. And sometimes I get like this week, I'll be honest, it was last week. Was it last week? Yeah. I had a client and she was like, oh, Matt, you know, everything's just stressful at the minute, just not in a good place. You know, I'm going to give my notice for coaching. And I just said to her, I was like, look, I'm going to be honest and be like, right now, you should not quit. Right now, this is exactly why you need the support, because life is busy. There's a lot going on. You need to get your head in the game because this is going to help you. And, you know, it's my job to say that because I'm here to hold you accountable. I'm not here just to let you go and be like, yeah, go on then, fine. Off you go then. Go and do it yourself, right? Because you know that's going to work. Of course it's not. And she was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, you've got me out of a funk. She's back in the gym this week. She's sending me videos of her working out, like form videos. She's excited. She's back in a routine. And it's amazing how quickly you can flip that. But if you keep telling yourself, now's not a good time, then of course it's not going to be. Of course you're not going to make any changes because you're telling yourself that. It's that self-limiting belief, isn't it? So there's always going to be a busy time, but having a busy time is not a reason to stop taking care of yourself. It's actually the reason that you need the habits more. It's the reason you need to be looking after your well-being more. So look at starting where you are, exactly where you're at right now, right? We don't quit, we adjust. We look at, like we say, having that dimmer switch and upping that dimmer switch sometimes and dimming the dimmer switch some other times. And that's exactly what it's like. You've got to stop waiting for a version of life that isn't coming. You've got to start creating it for yourself, because nobody else is going to do that for you, right? Nobody else is just going to hand you some, the motivation fairy is not going to come with a magic dust and sprinkle the motivation and sprinkle the more time. Like, that is just the way it is. And we can be a victim to our own circumstances and be like, yeah, life's shit. I've got this on my plate. I can't do this. Everybody else has so much more time. It's so much easier for them. You can either tell yourself that, or you can be like, okay, these are the cards I've been dealt and this is what I'm going to manage. And that's exactly what we do in coaching. We don't play the victim. We just work with the circumstances and we're like, okay, I know that my life is going to look different to Molly May's, but I am determined that I am going to find time for myself because I need that boundary for my well-being. And that's what's so important. So the message is, stop waiting for the perfect time, because that is exactly what is halting your progress. That is exactly why you are stuck in the yo-yo dieting cycle and you cannot get out, because you're waiting for a quiet time. So stop it and accept that right now is a good time as any, right? The best time to start was yesterday, but unfortunately that's already gone. So the only way is up from here, right? And if you do need a helping hand, if you do want to talk about one-to-one coaching, I do have, 3 spaces left? I've had 5 spaces go. So if you do want to talk about coaching, please send me a hello. My Instagram is in the show notes at thriving.withlaura. Send me a hello. We can have a chat about how I can help you too. Help you to get out of your funk, out of your head, and making progress towards imperfectly thriving, because that is what it's all about. So go and enjoy the rest of your weekends. Happy Valentine's Day for anybody who's listening, and I will catch you all soon.